Hello, welcome to Michelle Sews Again. I'm Michelle. Today it's my turn to participate in the vlog tour for the Project Dress a Girl event that is being hosted by Mari from Mari Sews. If you're interested to hear what dresses I've made and a little bit about the project, then please stay tuned. Okay, as I mentioned, this event is hosted by Mari from Mari Sews. This is her third year hosting this event, and she just really wanted to do something good with her sewing superpower, which I love that she calls it that. And so she started this project 3 years ago, and it has grown exponentially every year. This is year 3. Last year we donated as a collective group over 2,300 dresses, which I think is just unbelievably phenomenal. And I personally think that we could potentially double that again this year, because I know a lot of you have already told me that you've been sewing little girl dresses all year in preparation for this event. So a little bit about the event. This is a great cause for little girls across the world. There's not a specific country that they go to. They go wherever they're needed, including the US. In fact, last year we donated, I think, a couple of hundred dresses to little girls that lost everything in Hurricane Ian. So it's not always just, third world countries. It's wherever little girls have a need. And I just think that's wonderful. Some of the little girls have never had a dress of their own. And so I think that is also really special. I know there have been questions on some of the other vlogs about, what about the little boys? And my only answer to that is that, as with any charitable organization, they cannot cater to every need. So I know that there are other organizations that cater to little boys. If your heart is telling you that you need to provide for little boys in need, I would encourage you to go and research what programs exist for donating to little boys. And I think it would be fabulous if you started an event like this for little boys. I'm sure you would get a lot of support from the sewing community. Okay, so here are the rules for the garment itself. It must be a dress. It needs to have no fasteners at all other than fabric ties. So there can't be any zippers, any buttons, any snaps, any Velcro, anything like that. If it has ties, then they must be fabric ties. Don't use grosgrain ribbon, because I'm sure that you're aware when you tie something with grosgrain ribbon, it doesn't hold all that well, and it tends to fray, and so it's not the best option for a tie. So they ask that you don't use that. So you can either use fabric ties, or it can just slip over the head, which is also ideal. It must have at least one pocket. I've put 2 pockets on all of mine. The fabric must be woven, or you can do a knit top and a woven skirt dress. It cannot be an all over knit dress. You wanna make sure that the fabric is not transparent. You don't wanna be able to see your hand through it. Obviously that's for modesty purposes for the little girl. It must have a label in a prominent position, so either on the pocket or on the hemline. And you can buy labels from Mari's website. All of the proceeds that she gets from the labels go directly to the Dress a Girl Around the World organization. She doesn't pocket any of that. This is the label from the Dress a Girl Around the World website. And then there is a new version of the label on Mari's website as well. That's super cute. I don't have a copy of that one, but I'll get an image of it and put it up here so you can see it. It's really cute. And you can buy either one of those from Mari on her website. And then the final requirement is that the dress must be at least knee length. All right, so now let's jump into the dresses that I've made. So the first dress that I made was, if you are familiar with Elisa from Thoughtful Creativity, she has participated in this event 3 years in a row. And by participating, not only has she made dresses, but she has designed a free pattern for everybody to use to make dresses that fit the criteria. And this year, I believe she's designed 2. I only made the first one, and she's designing them for her little girl. So all 3 years, there is a free pattern. I will link all 3 of them in the description box below. And they are progressively bigger because she's designed them for her little girl as she grows every year. So this year's dress is so cute. In fact, I love it so much that I wish I knew how to draft for myself, because I would draft one for myself. So it is an A-line dress. It's just a slip over dress. There's no fasteners, no ties at all. And it's got this fabulous side panel that has the built-in pocket on the side. How stinking cute is that? Now I've made mine from fabrics from my scrap bin, and the main fabric is an ice dye fabric that I have made, and then the side panel I've made out of some leftover K-Facet fabrics that I just absolutely love, and I think they look really fun together. So there's this like turquoise floral in the background, and then this really fun polka dot in the middle, and then I just used store-bought bias tape to trim the top and the bottom, and then I used store-bought bias tape to edge out the armholes and the neckline. And I just think this is such a cute little dress, and you can see that my label is on the front hemline, and yeah, it's a super cute dress. It's easy to make. It only comes in one size. So if you want to make multiple dresses, my recommendation is to make multiple dresses in varying sizes. But if you have one pattern and you've got it cut out and you want to make a bunch in the same size, every dress counts. So do whatever. Yeah, so this only comes in one size, but if you follow Elisa and you get all of her free patterns, they are in progressive sizes because they follow her little girl's growth patterns. All right, so I will put a link to Elisa's channel in the description box below. This next dress that I made has 7 sizes, and I made all 7 sizes. And it is the Oliver & S popover sundress. So what I want to show you, the reason that I love this dress, A, it's easy, and B, I don't like taping PDFs together, but this is it. This is all of it. So you can see here that it has size 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And none of the lines cross over each other. So if you only wanted to do this one time, then you could cut out the largest size, then put it down, cut out your fabric, then cut down the next one and cut out your pattern, cut out your fabric, and you could just do it sequentially from the largest to the smallest. I plan on using this one if Madi continues doing this event every year. This is probably going to be my go-to pattern because it's just so easy and so cute to put together. I'm sorry, that's not the only pattern piece. There's also the yoke piece at the top, which also has all the different sizes. So you could do the same thing. You could just cut them down and cut each one. But because my goal is to use this dress every year, what I ended up doing was just laying that out flat and tracing out on Swedish tracing paper each of the sizes. So I've got a pattern ready to go for every one of the sizes, including the yoke piece. Now it also comes with a pattern piece for the bias tape, and you cut out 2 times, like you would have to double this and then cut that out. I just use store-bought bias tape just because it's quicker and easier. But if you enjoy making bias tape, then have at it. So that's it. That's the pattern pieces. Now the fun thing about this pattern, which I have not taken advantage of, is it's got a duplicate version for a little doll, which to make a little doll's dress, which I think is super cute. So let me just take you through the 7 dresses that I made. All right, so I'm starting with the 2 and I'll move up through the 8 because that's the order that I made them in. So this is dress number 1. And in these smaller dresses, they're super easy to make up using fabric from your scrap bin. The larger ones, I had to go and buy some fabric because my scrap pieces weren't quite big enough, but these smaller ones are perfect. So this is a tencel fabric, like a tie-dye looking tencel that I got from Joann's. I made a bellbird top, you know, my favorite top, out of that. And I had some leftovers. And then this is an Ankara fabric that I bought in Fort Lauderdale last year. And I just thought those two paired really well together. And obviously with the store-bought bias tape, I think this one is super cute. And I think that those fabrics go really well together. So that's the size 2. So I want to just talk you through the order of operation here. So the pattern itself does not come with pockets. So what I've done is I found a pocket pattern piece. I believe it's from Elisa's pattern from last year, if I'm not mistaken, but it's just, you can use any pocket pattern that you want, any patch pocket pattern. You could do inseam pockets. It doesn't have to be a patch pocket. And so I just have that pocket pattern piece, and I use it for all the sizes. So the first thing I do is I sew the pockets on to the front piece. Now this one I had to piece together because normally you would cut this on the fold, but my fabric wasn't wide enough. So I cut it into pieces and then sewed the seams together. And then I sewed the pockets on. And then you put the yoke on, and the instructions for putting the yoke on are super easy. You put the right side of the yoke to the wrong side of the bodice and sew that on. Then you flip it over and turn under that side and iron it down, and then top stitch it in place. And then you sew the side seams together, and then you hem it, and then you sew the bias tape on. Easy peasy. I meant to time how long it takes to make one of these, and I kept forgetting, but it's definitely in the 2-hour range between cutting out the fabric and sewing it and everything. So yeah, super quick to put together. I'll be honest with you, the size 2 and the size 3 are so close together. I'm not sure what the size difference is. On the paper, it's really like it's almost less than 1/4 of an inch. When I put the 2 and the 3 up next to each other, I don't see a difference, to be honest. But I made the 3 out of this fun gauze fabric left over that I had. I have this fun polka dot and this fun floral. And I used these 2 fabrics for a Cali shirt that I made that I love and I wear all the time. And then I used this fun bias tape. So that's just a basic one. I didn't do anything special other than the color blocking or print mixing. The size 4, I did something fun with, and I did this one in the month of August because I participated in Anne Marie's Sew Reversible challenge. And so this one is actually reversible. So I've got, which actually worked out well, and I'll show you why when I turn it around. So this is a really fun dragonfly calico print that I bought from Joanne. I used a gingham print for the pockets and a different size for the yoke. And the reason I used a different size for the yoke is because I used the smaller print for the reversible side. And I did do pockets on both sides. So you can see here that you can kind of see the dragonflies through the calico or through the gingham. And I think that actually works out okay. I think it's cute because the colors all go together. But if I hadn't done the reversible on this, I would not have been able to use this gingham without lining it because clearly it's too transparent. So anyway, I think that came out cute because now I've got the contrasting or the different size gingham for the yoke versus the dress. I did put a label on both sides though, that way it's visible regardless of which way the little girl wears it. Okay, so I'm gonna talk you through how I'm doing a reversible popover sundress. I have my 2 yoke pieces. I only need 2. Because that's where I'm going to attach the 2 layers. I've already put my pockets together and put them on the front of each of the dress panels. So I've got a front and a back of this print, and then I've got a front and a back of this one. And I'm going to change the order of construction a little bit. The directions tell you to put the yoke on first and then sew the side seams up, but I am going to attach these at the yoke piece. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to sew the side seams of each of these separately, and then we'll come back. Okay, so now I have the side seams sewn together, and I did go ahead and serge them just for extra protection. I've gone ahead and hemmed both of these independently. So now I have 2 dress bodices, and now I need to attach them at the yoke. I just made a mistake. I'm not going to include that because I don't want anybody following that and pausing and then making the same mistake I did. So I'm taking that piece out and starting over. I was putting them, I turned one inside out or right side out and put right sides together, but that is incorrect. I need to actually have wrong sides together so that I can maintain the seam allowance. When I put right sides together, I lost a little bit of the seam allowance. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna put the wrong sides together and stitch along the top of the yoke, and then I will meet you back here. Okay, so now I have the yoke sewn together. I sewed it within the seam allowance because once I put the yoke on, it's gonna be connected right at the seam allowance and I don't want those stitches to show. So now I am gonna go and use the directions for the pattern and attach the yoke the same way that I would if this was just a single layer dress. So I would imagine you have the pattern, so I'm not going to walk you through how to attach the yoke, but I'm going to attach the yoke and the straps and I'll meet you back here. Then for the size 5, again, another fun purple one from Joann's with that same gingham and some fun blue ties. This next one, I didn't color block the yoke. I used the same fabric for the yoke as I did for the bodice, and this is just some of my ice dye fabric that I had in my stash. But I made my own bias tape for this one. But what I did that's fun is I used a store-bought bias tape as trim to separate the yoke from the bodice, and I think that that black and white really sets off. And I did a different one on the front than I did on the back, but they're both black and white, so it coordinates. So I think that one came out really cute. And then for the size 7, I ended up lining it because when I was putting this together, oh my God, I love this one, it's so fun. This top fabric was really see-through. When I was sewing it, I could see my hand through it. And so before I sewed the yoke on, I lined it with just a plain white. I had just recently thrifted a plain white sheet because I was gonna use it for ice dyeing, which I'm still gonna do, I have plenty left. But I cut out 2 more pieces, and I think it's called underlining. I just sewed the 2 pieces together instead of trying to do any kind of bag out or anything. And so you can see on the inside there, I seamed them together rather than trying to make it as a lining. It's not really, it's an underlining, I guess. And you have to do that before you put the yoke on because the yoke folds over and is sewn on both the inside and the outside. So for this one, it's lined. I have that fun 60s print, and then I put that really fun white and yellow gingham as the yoke and the pocket, and I think that came out super cute. And then for my last one, the size 8, I think I might need to undo this one and line it because I think this one is also probably too see-through. But so here's a tip. I bought a yard each of these fabrics thinking that would be enough, forgetting that I needed 2 on the fold. And so I was only able to get 1 on the fold out of each of these fabrics. So instead of doing it on the fold, I cut 2 pieces out of each, but not on the fold. And then I mix and matched them so that they were half and half on the front and on the back. And I think that that came out really cute. And then I alternated the pockets. But yeah, this one is see-through, so I'm gonna need to go back and just, but yeah, this came out super cute. But this is an example of why you need to get heavier fabric, because that's definitely, you can see my hand through that. And we don't want these little girls to, well, first of all, I don't think it would even make it to the little girls. If you watch Mari's video, I'm pretty sure she said that they ended up having to just get get rid of any dresses that were too transparent because they couldn't donate them. So you don't want your hard work to go to waste. So make sure that your fabric is not see-through. And if it is, then just line it. So I definitely recommend that pattern. Madi has a lot of different patterns that she has recommended as well. There's Elisa's 3 patterns that she has designed for the program. And what I would encourage you to do is there is a vlogging tour. So there is 1 or more vloggers almost every day this month that are sharing their makes or their plans for their makes. So you can get a lot of pattern ideas, fabric ideas, trim ideas to kind of make it a little bit more fun by watching all the vloggers. So I'm going to tell you that yesterday, the 2 vloggers that posted yesterday were Heyday Sews and Tomcat Stitchery. I will link their channels in the description box below. I'm all by myself today, and then tomorrow is So Little Time, and I will link her channel in the description box as well. So as I said, Madi has the whole list of the vlogging tour on her blog post, as well as all the ambassadors that you can send your dresses to. So you can either drop them off at a local ambassador if there's one near you, or you can mail it to them, or you can mail it to Madi, and they will get the dresses where they need to go. For you to be counted, for your dresses to be counted, you need to take a picture and post it on Instagram and tag Madi and use the hashtag ProjectDressAGirl2023. And if you don't use Instagram, then just email Madi and let her know how many dresses that you are either sending to her or sending to your ambassador. She is doing the count from Instagram and from the emails, not from the dresses that she receives, because she won't be receiving all of them. So let's make sure that your dress gets counted. Wherever you are, I hope the weather's amazing. I hope you're able to get some sewing in, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.